Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, it was 11 years ago that a Conservative government overhauled the Electricity Act with much ballyhoo, and they trumpeted the fact that the Act would ensure that NB Power would henceforth be free from political interference. But, Mr. Speaker, those changes didn't anticipate a Premier's interference with the governance of NB Power. This Premier just appointed his Irving Buddies to serve on the boards of both NB Power and its public regulator, the Energy and Utilities Board. Mr. Speaker, the Premier's appointed his Energy Czar, Wayne Power, to NB Power's Board of Directors. He was recruited by the Premier to deliver on his energy agenda just a month after Mr. Power retired from a 17-year career with J.D. Irving, the largest power consumer in New Brunswick. Can the Premier tell this House what he asked Mr. Power to deliver for him as an NB Power Director?
Minister of Natural Resources, Energy Development.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member opposite for the question because it gives me an opportunity to highlight that Mr. Power, prior to being appointed to the board of NB Power, was a very known commodity within the Department of Energy. He had filled a role for over a year where he was helping us progress and move forward with a significant number of initiatives. He was producing results, was a key person related to the development of the energy plan, and transitioned to a position on the board of NB Power where he'll continue to put that proven track record to work to help improve the utility to the benefit of all New Brunswickers. I think we should celebrate when people of competency are put in positions to make things better for New Brunswickers, Mr. Speaker. As it relates to the appointment of Mr. Logan to the EUB, not 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we were being criticized for not having people on the board, and then we moved forward to put people in place to make sure that we can process what needs to be done there, and we're criticized for that. I'm not sure what will make the member opposite happy.
Thank you. The member for Fredericton-South and leader of his party.
I'll be happy when I'm Premier of this province, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the same month that John Logan retired from Irving Oil after a 30-year career, Premier brought him into his office to provide strategic advice on energy-related files. Now he has appointed him as a commissioner on the Energy and Utilities Board. Mr. Speaker, this role is a little like being a judge, passing a verdict on NB Power's capital investments, power rate designs, and rate applications. So now we have one Irving Buddy on the board of NB Power and a second Irving Buddy on the board of the EUB, which regulates NB Power, supposedly in the public interest. Both of these gentlemen work closely with the Premier on shaping his preferred energy policy, powered by frack gas and atomic power. How does the Premier not see the conflict of interest he has created with these latest partisan appointments?
Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, enough is enough. If the member opposite ever had a hope of thinking he could be the Premier of the province, it would require him having facts straight. And there's nothing that could be further from the actual rollout of what took place here. The member opposite is trying to create a situation that would have us believe that the Premier handpicked and appointed these people to these boards. That is not the case. That is legislated as it relates to the process of putting people on the EUB. I do not know as the Minister. The Premier does not know as the Premier. There is an outside talent sourcing company that goes through a process and several different sessions of vetting. The NB Power Board puts together a series of interviews and then comes to us to approve what they have done. If you're going to talk about how people are put in place, it's important to talk factually about how it's done. It is not done in a back room. It is done through a clear process that we articulate and then affirm as Cabinet so that it can be transparent for the people in New Brunswick.
Minister, the member for Fredericton-South and leader of his party.
Mr. Speaker, these partisan appointments benefit the Premier of the day, government after government, but not New Brunswickers. Such important positions as Commissioner of a quasi-judicial institution, such as the EUB, need to be nonpartisan and seen to be nonpartisan. People are losing faith in public institutions, Mr. Speaker, and when that happens, public trust in our democratic process is undermined. This is serious. For a Premier to appoint his buddies to important governance bodies like NB Power as board of directors or public regulatory boards like the EUB may help his personal agenda, but it betrays the interests of New Brunswickers. I'm asking the Premier to rescind his latest partisan appointments and end the practice altogether. Will he do it?
The Honourable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I think the minister's outlined very well how the process actually works, but I would encourage the Leader of the Green Party, Mr. Speaker, to actually look at the skill capabilities of these individuals that are on these boards. Look at their experience, Mr. Speaker, and look at the value that they can bring to major projects that are going to be underway within NB Power. Projects like they've never seen before, Mr. Speaker. The refurbishment of the dam in Mactaquac. I mean, a project that goes back 50 years, Mr. Speaker, is now looking at being refurbished. The SMR file, a major change, a whole blueprint. As the minister outlined, Mr. Power had put the blueprint together, working with others in order to look at a roadmap. Mr. Speaker, these are people that have been involved in industry, involved in big projects, involved in big decisions, and we're putting the right skill set to get the job done. And Mr. Speaker, the very issue that we talk about in healthcare, to move the file, the people that are now in the boards of healthcare are starting to manage healthcare, Mr. Speaker, something that's never been done. We have a situation where we've always said put more money to get better. The Liberals' only philosophy, put more money to get better. Manage it, and it'll get really good.